yes, we are here and we understand that you're seeking information about beings that are in the inner earth who have shifted and not realized they have shifted. Because some have needed to be evacuated from the surface when catastrophes occurred, such as Lemuria, such as Atlantis even, and various others around the history of this planet, they went underground. This is not just humanoids and other beings, it's animals as well. So they have found their way into caverns and crevices and caves, and some of them have thrived there and created homes there that are very comfortable for them, and that is fantastic for them, and they have lived out their life cycles there. And in history, we are noticing now, as we are tapping into this ourselves, as we are able to have more privy access to Gaia, it is us being able to scan now more easily with no. This is interesting. We're trying to see why we couldn't do this before. First of all, there was no one asking us directly to do this. So we now have access to be able to look at this and scan for denser frequency beings who were in fear. As you can imagine, and as you may be experiencing soon, when tragedy strikes and when big changes occur, the body goes into fear. And you've all experienced being in fear and how quickly that bottoms out, drops your frequency vibration. Almost you can't think clearly because you're in a panic. And this is what happened to quite a few beings. They were in such a panic, they rushed and they fumbled, and some we see tripped in the darkness of this panic, had an exit point, but didn't actually discover or know that they had passed. And so they were with the body. They didn't realize. Their frequency was so confused and so low vibrational, they didn't get connected to their teams. Their teams were dealing with a lot of other tragedies and a lot of panic, and so it's almost like there were some lost souls that occurred from these big events. As you can imagine, a lot goes on from our perspective when there is big events. There has been experiences which have caught us off guard. We would like to say Hiroshima, for example. Some experiences. It was a lot. It was a lot for us to work behind the scenes to support. And while we can be in many places supporting, we sort of have our own limits. And so what we could do without breaching free will. This free will clause has us often in a bind. We can't breach it. And this is part of the we want to say universal law for this planet, which we obey and abide. We cannot breach certain things. We wouldn't want to. We have respect for the experiences. And so, of course, there is these unfortunate incidences where a soul does not realize it has died, and the teams have not quite been ready for that exit point, disconnected. And so there are beings within the earth that did depart and they got lost in this system. This may feel uncomfortable for many, thinking, well, what are the chances it could happen to me? And we say we have learnt a lot since those times of Lemuria and Atlantis. And so we are more skilled at being your guides and supporting you than we ever have. We have grown more, just like you have grown more. And it is a lot of duty to be of service to those here on this 3D planet that we are speaking through to you now. And so we would like to support this request today, to be able to get the collectives, to be able to sense and feel the density of those, what you would consider lost souls, who are within the surfaces. We know we have helped you before assist locations of trapped beings that were imprisoned by others using their free will and technology that is not allowed on this planet anymore, or actually anywhere else. So, of course, it doesn't mean to say they don't exist. Some technology that shouldn't be used still is there. So there is many what you would perceive as threats, but we all know mostly where these things are, and from our perspective we are able to guide and protect from those. There's nothing to fear, and we have advanced support from those who can help us if something truly irreparable has occurred. We can ask for assistance that way to almost rewind your time. But this is not the we have seen, since your time is not linear, you only experience it as a perception of such. We have already seen your futures. There is nothing to worry about. We are fully prepared and all is well. And so we are calling on the collectives now to be able to help all scan for the densities of those lost beings who have kept to themselves. It is a peculiar thing for a soul essence to be so, it's like a stress. They are so broken for the tragedy of what they experienced and the panic. They kind of loop themselves in this prison of their own minds. It's a prison of their own consciousness. They don't realize that they can move. They're so shocked with what they saw, they cannot move. Often, and this is uncomfortable to share for those who are squeamish in the third dimension, but some of them have watched their own bodies slowly but surely decay, and they don't understand. They don't understand why they are still there, and it sort of tormented the soul. This is not everyone's experience, luckily, but this has been some experiences for some. And so this is what, when you have a strong belief system that there is nothing after life or death, or there is a heaven and a hell, some people think that they're so bad that they will go to hell, and so they assume they're living in hell. And so they play out living in hell. They are afraid of everything because they're living in hell. And so even though they are in a ghost-like state, they assume everything around them is in hell. And so that paralyzes them. their belief system, even in death, can still impact their choices and their perceptions and their mindsets. And this is why we like to be able to support those who do exit points. And as we have many already contracted exit points, we are much more able to assist more easily when there is those pre-organized exit points. Yes, there are situations where an exit point occurs when it wasn't pre-organized, wasn't contractual, and the surprise has put a jump on us, and so therefore we were not there to be able to assist them with the transition, to reassure them that all is well and comfort them through their exit points. And so they have been, you could say, abandoned by their teams on accident, and they can't seem to shake themselves out of it. And so we would like to assist today, of course. So we appreciate this opportunity to be able to be of service once again for this. We thought that we had been able to clear out lots from the energies of this planet, and that would naturally raise their vibrations. But we see that there are some places that still have a lot of a density from the trauma there. And it's not in the usual places that we were expecting. So there is little pockets here and there. So we are now having more access to finding these denser beings who are traumatized, who are not in the physical, but it is consciousnesses that are stuck. We would like to reassure you in understanding there really isn't actually that many anymore now. But it's the ones that have really suffered in terms of lots of has really shaken them to the core. And of course all these events and tragedies do shake people all to the core. It seems to be those ones that have got lost completely with the groups, and that they were by themselves. Once they are alone by themselves and then they shift, it's a lot harder for them, because they already feel so alone. And so they really flip into this density. Those who exit together see that about themselves. They see each other exiting together, and they can support each other that way and have comfort and companionship. So we can see now more clearly than ever before where these very scared, it's like they have given up knowing that they can thrive. They have given up knowing that they could be reunited. It's very perplexing, because they should have been able to advance themselves, but it's like they haven't reached the even concept that there is something more. So it is like we're ushering them now. And we are shining our light onto them, our energetic higher frequency onto them. It's like they've become dormant. It's like they've become rocks. They needed to protect themselves, and they did not want to move. They did not feel like they could move. And so they became dormant. And so we are sending them very subtly higher frequency energy, because if we gave them a full blast, it would shock them. So it is like we are gently resuscitating them with higher frequency energy. They are effectively what you would consider so cold, so shut down, so rigid, that they're, even though they're not a physical rock, it is like that's how hard the density is. And so we are trying to, and we are successfully raising their vibrations, just very gently, very reassuringly. And we will be continually working on this because this is a delicate thing. They need to be gently awakened from change. And we have them supported now and surrounded now. We can identify who they are now. And we are calling in their own teams now to be able to help them and reassure them and recognize them now. This is an extreme experience of separation. This is an extreme experience of solitude. Not being with source, but being in one's own density from one's own choices. So we will now release them more and more and more and flood them full of more light. And when they are able to hold more frequency than they've ever done before, we will be able to assist them and they will go to the most appropriate place. And we see lots of healing for them too, because they have been in such a extreme density that it is time for them to get used to again holding that higher frequency. And so it shall be. And we can see how completely lost and devastated those who feel so lost and devastated can actually harden themselves and shut themselves down so completely they are unable to move, and solid, inflexible and rigid. We have been able to assist, and we will continually keep looking to see if there is any other more densities. This is something we would be more than happy to continue on with, and then we will set a team to be able to help with this. And the more we do this, the more we'll have practice with this and be able to support more and more. So we are grateful to be able to be of service today.